Guilt tripping is one of the easier ways to lure people into your own propaganda, and it is one of the stronger aspects of manipulation. I've said in previous videos that manipulation means nothing else than the same thing occultism does. Occultism or manipulation is more or less the same, but occultism means manipulation of energy. Now, you can manipulate energies for your own good. You can also do it for other people's good, but you can also do it to bring misfortune into other people's lives. There is a quote that says, well, if you can't beat someone because they're better or stronger or both, well, you can cheat. And you can lure people against them, you can frame them, you can do so many things. Another thing is to simply ruin their mind. Because when you turn their energies against themselves, you don't have to bother too much about them, at least for a certain time. Guilt tripping is basically the same thing. It doesn't have much necessarily to do with occultism, but you can use it in occult ways to make it even stronger, or to make it less or far less probable that people will notice it. But guilt tripping is usually a narcissistic behavior. Someone who's interested in making sure that you follow them will teach you certain pseudo morals or personal morals, right? They're morals that do not necessarily belong to society. They're just twisted and contorted versions of a moral, but only to, let's say, cuddle their own ego, to support their own ego. And then they start accusing you of everything, even more than you actually do, always misinterpreting things and making you feel bad that you're not a slave of their own agenda. Because the miserable person's agenda, what could it be? Well, see, misery is the greatest mistress, master, whatever you want to call it, right? To a certain extent, I call misery as divine punishment. Because a lot of people still have this stupid, useless that God created by our ancestors will save you from your suffering. No God will move a finger for you. You have to realize that in this life you are alone. No one will most likely do anything special for you. Some people will do a few things and you will do a few things for them as well. You'll probably have families or, groups of closely related people and the such, but ultimately on your spiritual journey, you will always be alone. You may have families, you may have children and the such, but you have to realize that they are individuals. They are individual beings who have to follow their own path. So when it comes to believing certain things, all sorts of writings have been built because people always require a faith in something greater than them. Why is it? This is because humans, like any conscious being, requires to believe in something greater because similarly, life will always aim towards something greater. Now, something greater, well, the universe doesn't function based on good or bad. We exist on good or bad because these are values. Something that you like, something that supports you, well, you will call it good, even if it may not necessarily suit you entirely, but you will still call it somewhat good. Something that is definitely against you, pulls you down, ruins your life or any part of your existence, well, that is what we call bad. Well, in reality, in this universe, there is only one thing, which is progress. Something can evolve towards something better or something worse only because of your experience, right? If, let's say, you're combating as a farmer, you're combating a parasite, well, parasites also evolve. If it evolved into a form that is stronger than what you have been fighting, and your substances, your poisons, and whatever you use to counter it is no longer effective, well, you'll call it a bad thing. But there is only evolution in here. This universe only knows evolution. So the same thing goes to our society. Now, the biggest problem is with our humanity, our race, our ancestors also. Everything we have created was created out of misery. When you take a look on most of our creations, they all look perfect on paper. You take a look on Christianity, you take a look at Islam, you take a look of most of the religious beliefs and even non-religious beliefs. Most of the philosophies of the world, if you take a look at them, you will see that there is everything somewhat correctly aligned. It looks very well on paper, and everything seems to be nice and acceptable. You take a look at democracy, it feels like almost a utopia. You look at communism, it looks like even a greater utopia. But the problem with all of these is that they've all been created in ignorance. See, ignorance is in a way divine punishment. To a certain extent, I will always call it such. Because ultimately, some people, some bozos in this world who don't care about you, your ancestors, or any root that you have, they will do everything possible to get you killed, mentally, emotionally, and then, of course, physically, because you must slaver for them for part of your life. And then, when they deem you unworthy of your existence, as if they are some gods, well, they will simply discard you. But, these people are doing their part. Now you are the more evil one because you are sitting idle. No, you seem to not care anymore. You have given up on your life. See, ignorance means you don't care how much you get hurt. So the only way to hurt you is to hurt you enough or to cause you enough pain that you'll want to wake up of it. Because that is the problem. With physicality, typically it is easy because a simple cut on your skin, you do it accidentally on paper or on something, even if it is a superficial cut, your physical body has so much power on you, right? A simple cut, well, your mind will be focused on it for so long. Now, when it comes to emotional suffering, it's much, much easier to become accustomed to it. And that's why I say, ignorance is divine punishment because you don't care how much others get hurt, how much you get hurt. And, well, others will keep doing their own thing. So you have to suffer enough until you break, right? When this happens, well, the easiest way to be pulled out of that is the trade off, what I call the madness trade off. People have to guilt trip you, to do all sorts of things, and, play you around until you wake up. Their only advantage is that you don't wake up, that you choose to stay ignorant, right? In this world, if you're still not convinced that this sick society wants you dead, or at least suffering before you die, well, you're kind of cuckoo in a way. So the problem is, well, you're not gonna have a pleasant experience in life anyways. They even told you that you're not gonna have anything till 2030, but you will be happy. See, all of these little lies. Ask yourself one question. When is it the last time you actually heard the truth from this sick society? Right? The wolf in sheep's clothing will always tell the sheep that, well, if you elect me, I'll most likely become a vegetarian, right? Have you ever seen a vegetarian wolf? No, definitely not. They will simply lie and, you know, make use of your symbols, religious symbols, cultural symbols, anything, in order to coerce you to acclimate your will and your energy into their favor, and then you're simply going to be discarded. Haven't you seen the patterns? Every time there's elections, there's work everywhere around, but after the elections are done, the whole society is simply let there to simply crumble. I've heard of this, and you can also see it everywhere because all of these people only seek their own interests. They don't care about the rest. They don't simply even care about the fact that they're going to pay for all the karma that they're doing. But everyone has to experience life, and everyone has to gather all of these ideas. All of these sick people that we have, they need to experience things so that throughout multiple lifetimes they will also wake up in the end. But these sick people are only very feeble energies that our weak women and men allowed in this world because they didn't know how life functions and they just gave birth to children in misery. That is why I believe people with lots of children are in a way little homicidal maniacs and also genocidal maniacs in a way. Because giving birth to children who become worse monsters than you, well, that is a big problem. So guilt tripping is a good way through which you can be broken out of your misery. Now it depends upon you how much you wish to experience it, because all it is within you, it is all but your choice, right? That's what they tell you. That's what society tells you. But it is fully your choice in the end. This being said, Ferinjan Board signing out.